Okay, so this is going to walk you through how to do the first assignment, which is to create a sphere and a cube. You're going to make a new document, 10 by 10, 150 pixels per inch is just fine. Sphere, cube, then your last name as a title. First step, paint bucket tool 50% gray. For our background, then we're going to create a new layer where we'll be putting our sphere and our cube. And then I'm going to use the elliptical selection tool, hold shift to make a perfect circle. And now I'm going to brush on with a low opacity, soft, large brush, my highlight side. There will be my highlight and then my brightest spot from there, and it will kind of just softly fade in a curved elliptical kind of fashion. Once I've got that formed, I'm going to switch to black and do the same process, and the darkest spot of that will be opposite my highlight. Right in between those, that middle area should be my 50% gray still. Nice, soft, repeated, as smooth as we can, shadow evenly fading. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my cast shadow. In order to do that, I'm going to go select inverse. So now everything but the circle is selected. And I'm going to brush in the cast shadow with that soft brush again. You really kind of want to follow the edge of the circle down to this edge of the cast shadow, then the edge of this circle down to this edge of the cast shadow. I'm going to hold shift and click on the background to switch my color to the background color, and then I think I go back to black to clean it up a little bit again. The last step here will be moving back to the circle, and we're going to do some reflective light bouncing off the ground back onto the sphere, lightening parts of the sphere. And then we go select, deselect, and there's our sphere. Moving on to the cube, we're going to use the Polygon Lasso tool. The Polygon Lasso tool is going to allow us to select perfectly shaped sides. If you hold shift with this tool, it'll make it a perfectly straight line either down or to the side or at a 45-degree angle. So we'll make a few clicks and we'll have this make our selection for this side. Now I'm just going to brush in with a darker kind of shadow color, something like I just selected off the sphere there. Brush this in a couple layers. I could have made it a heavier opacity, but I didn't. And there we go. There's going to be our dark side of the cube. Deselect that, and now you're going to go back and make another side of your cube, holding shift for your vertical lines. You know, this isn't going to be a perfect cube by any means, but for the purposes of this exercise, selecting and shading things, it'll work just fine. We'll select a more medium value, just a little bit darker, because this side will still be more or less in shade. And then we'll select our top side, which will be brighter because it is receiving direct light. There we go. And now we're going to do our cast shadow by using the magic wand tool to select a uniform area, in this case our background, and when we brush it'll only affect then our background. This is a nice soft cast shadow. I will go back in with some gray and a smaller brush to kind of tighten up this edge here that is right along here. This should be really kind of going exactly to this point. It'd be a little bit harder there. There we go. We'll deselect this, and then I believe it's all done. You'd want to save as Sphere Cube and your last name and upload to Flickr.